Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome. If you can hear me, clearly, you can drop a quick hi in the comment and let me know that you can hear my voice. Okay. So basically, today's session is very straightforward. You are learning Mandarin, right? You watching this. If you're watching this live, it means you're learning Chinese. Otherwise, you won't looking at me or watching me, right? So the session is very straightforward. We are talking about why you keep forgetting what you have learned in Mandarin or in Chinese. Okay, so and how we can solve it in or rebuild a memory structure when you are missing. Okay, that's the straightforward things. And I don't want to give you lots of vocabulary to remember. I don't want to give you lots of sentence pattern to remember, because all that kind of input you can get everywhere. Okay, you can get all the vocabularies, the sentence patterns, or the grammar things. You can get it everywhere. But I want to let you know something that why you fail. I want to let you know why you fail learning Mandarin, why you always forget something when you learn Mandarin. We are not going to talk about emotion. I'm not going to give you lots of encouragement because that is how you know to solve something. You will be motivated automatically. That's what I believe. All right, cool. So it's just actually is kind of mechanism behind your memory or behind your forgetting, and that's the and we can give you I can give you exact structural solutions. Okay, so let's start with a very clear and very objective question. If you are experience any of the following, like you can understand during the lesson but forgot most of it in the same day, or you memorize vocabulary list but cannot retrieve it during the speaking. It means like you learn lots of vocabularies, but you still can't say it. You can't form them to a sentence. You can recognize words but cannot use them in real life. You can consistently hesitate. You probably consistently hesitate before speaking, or you rely on English because Chinese just don't come out. You just like going blank when you say something. All right. So in if that's the issue, then I would say it's not about your memory. It's not about like you are not smart or Chinese is too hard. The issue is you are learning something in a wrong way. It's your learning architecture. So in other words, is you don't forget Chinese. You never build a system to store it. Do you understand what I mean? Like you try so hard to learn Mandarin. You try so hard to memorize it, but you just don't build a habit, or your brain just don't have a system to store it. Thank you. And so that's the thing. It's not about the psychological. It's about the structure. Okay, most of the learner operate inside a fragmented input mode, like you use lots of apps. I don't know, maybe Duolingo, maybe Hello Chinese, maybe whatever the apps you use. Because as an adult learner, we always experience this is we don't have much time to learn. It's not like we are a student. We are full time to learning something. So that's why we need a system to build our learning habits, or to build our learning system in a fragmented time, but more efficient, right? So that's the key point. So today I will show you how to move into a loop-based retrieve model. That means you use your fragmented time, but you still have efficient to learn. All right, so here is the 5 structural failures that cause the forgetting. First is no entry structures. You see what I mean? So first is you learn isolated words. It's without a stable sentence structures to attach them, because your brain discard unanchored information by default. Because let me give you an example. You probably learn apple, 苹果. Okay, you learned 苹果, as apple in your mind. But the thing is, you just to memorize, okay, 苹果 is apple, 苹果 is apple, 苹果 is apple. But that doesn't relevant to your life. You see, that doesn't relevant to your life. So your brain will think, okay, what is 苹果? 苹果 doesn't relevant to my life. So I just probably forget about it. And that's why you forget. And second is there's no output activations. So you hear a lot, you repeat, you probably just repeat a little bit. Okay, you hear a lot, but repeat a little bit. And rarely you produce. That retrieve pathway never developed. It's because, you see, a language, learning any language is the same, even though your native language, all right? So if you learn something, but you don't use it, you don't say it out loud, how you can memorize it? How you can remember it? So that's why your brain automatically forget. And there is no life relevance. Learning a language is a tool. That's what I always says. Language is a tool. So as a tool, you have to use it. Say, for example, you know how to drive. You know how to drive, right? But after years and years and years, you don't drive. Could you still drive? I remember, like, my mom, she got her driving license very quickly. I think in a very short time. But she never drove. She never. And she always said, "Oh, I'm afraid. I think I'm scared. I think the traffic. I feel. I think people will laughing at me. I think people will, shouting on me if I made some mistakes." But because of that hesitation, she never drove. And after only 6 months, and she totally forget how to drive. And it's the same. It's the same in your life when you're learning Mandarin. If you never speak it, if you never use it, if you never say it, you will never remember it, because that has nothing relevant to your life. That's nothing relevant to you. Okay. So the next one is no conversation loops. What does it mean? Is you only memorize single sentences. You only make simple sentences. Okay. But speaking required back and forth. Okay. You remember, like, 我喜欢苹果. I like apple. You know how to say it. You remember these single sentences. Okay. But it's isolated lines. If you say this to people, how people can reply to you? Okay. If you say one sentence to a person, to a listener, then how people can remember you? How people can reply you, and how you can say it back? Do you have a sentence to say it back? 你好,你好, 用 chai? 你好. So yeah, because conversation is back and forth. Like, I speak to you back and forth, and I say, okay, my name is Jerry. 我叫 Jerry. Okay, and then I say this sentence to you. You want to say something back. So you are not expecting that no one listen to you or no one reply to you, and you just keep talking and say what you want to say, right? So that's the thing. That's the problem. You don't have a conversation loop. And lastly is there is a no low pressure rehearsal for a high pressure situation. What does it mean? Is when you're ordering food, you feel, okay, there's so much pressure on me. That's when I doing or when you're doing a self introduction in front of a friend, your new friend, you will feel like, okay, what should I say? What about if I say something wrong? What about if my what if my tone goes off, or my age? Well, you can guess, okay? But the thing is, ordering food, asking clarification of questions, making requests, these are the pressures or very high pressure scenarios. Without simulation, your brain defaults to, like, your native language, maybe English, maybe Arabic, or maybe Germany, whatever. So that's why you forget, because not because you lack of effort, it's because this is the traditional way or traditional method to learn, and that's lack of architectures. Okay, so Today, what I want to let you know is I called my method is called the loop system. Okay, this solved these 5 failures simultaneously. Okay, this helps you to solve these 5 problems simultaneous. It doesn't it's not about teaching more information. It's not about teaching you more vocabularies. Well, of course, vocabularies is very important. Without vocabularies, you can convey nothing. Without vocabularies, without grammar, without everything, you can just speak a little bit. But you can got this vocabulary list, this information, or all the input yourself, and that's free. And there's hundreds of informations there. Okay, loads of them. But the real situation is how to restructure your brain to store Chinese, how to make your mind more clear or more efficient to store what you have learned. Okay, so what I want to teach you is that each loop have 3 functions. First is the fixed structural frames, like a sentence pattern say I like to eat, 我喜欢吃 something, and then there's a controlled substitution, like you have something you can replace. Say for example, 我喜欢吃 I like to eat maybe the food, okay, or I like 我喜欢 it could be like actions, it could be context, it could be color, whatever. So that's the controlled substitutions. So you have the first, you have the structural frames. Second, you have something you can substitute. And then there's a circular repetition. So the repetitions can help you automatically to say something, because that will runs in your mind. Of course, that requires you to practice. All right. So this system creates predictable storage. So you know what you want to learn, because all the sentence patterns learned is about your daily life, is about what around you. If you can't say something around you, why you want to learn something that's not relevant to your life? That's the thing. So if you look around you, if you cannot say something around you, then you know what you need to learn next. Say, for example, your job, your hobbies, the food you like, right? These kind of things is relevant to your life. And also learn something relevant to your daily life. For example, if you are a doctor, why you want to learn something about constructions? If you are an accountant, why you want to learn something about history, right? So just the example, right? So, and today, we can help you to not only to have the predictable storage, to build a predicted retrieval, and I want to also you to have a predictable improvement, because we will walk out through these 5 loops in a theme about food. Okay, let's say about food, and then and then we can have through food we can solve these these 5 issues. Okay, before we start, if you're watching me from TikTok, you can click the button on your screen if you want to have a one-on-one free 5 days challenge with me learning Mandarin. There's a quick form there, and if you are watching me from YouTube, you can just click the text below. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, the first thing is transitions to the loop 1. The loop 1 address the structure failure. So there's no entry structures. Okay, no entry structures. Most learners trying to store vocabulary list first. Okay, that's lots of people start. Say for example, oh, okay, I want to learn Mandarin. What should I do? Download apps. I check on the YouTube. Let me search 25 most common words for Chinese. Okay, I don't know whether this is you or you have tried it before, but lots of people trying to store vocabulary list first, but your brain rejects it. Your brain rejects it because this is not the way your brain learning a thing. Because what works is the opposite. You need to establish the firm first, insert vocabulary second. Okay, let me give you an example. You are not learning apple, 苹果, rice, 米饭, or noodle, 面条, right? You don't remember this first. You need to learn something that you can use automatically. You need to learn to use, say for example, if you like to eat bread, 面包, you need to remember, you need to establish the frame, the sentence pattern. 我喜欢吃面包. You need to establish the frame. Okay, then because that's relevant to your daily life, that's your things. Okay, so let's try. I don't know what's your food. Maybe you can just type a food on the screen, and then we can start from there. Say for example, 我喜欢吃鸡肉 chicken. 我喜欢吃鸡肉 dragon chicken. What is dragon chicken? I never heard about it. Okay, what's that? If you don't, okay, now let's say if you want to say for example, dragon chicken. I don't know what's that. But you don't know the Chinese word for dragon chicken. Okay, then what about you can say 我喜欢 dragon chicken. That's an improve as well. You can use you can mix them together at the beginning. Okay, spicy dish. Yeah, 我喜欢吃辣的. Okay, 我喜欢吃辣的. What's the best way to start learning grammar? Depends on your level first. If you are a total completely beginners, I don't suggest you to starting learning grammar first, because you don't have much information in your brain. You don't have much information to support you to learn the grammar, because grammar involve lots of linguistics theme or linguistics words. But if you cannot have a basic conversation at the beginning, then there's no point you start learning grammar. And then after you enter into intermediate level, I would say if you say Chinese in 9 levels, start from level 3. Start from level 3, you can start getting involved some information about grammar. But before that, learning sentence pattern is much more efficient. And later on start with level 3, there's a patterns about grammar as well. In fact, Chinese grammar is quite simple. Yes, I do offer private lessons. You can, for people who live in watching from TikTok, you can click the bottom in the screen. There's a short forms. You can fill the forms, and I will contact you. For people who watching on YouTube, you can click the text below, and I can contact you from there as well. All right, cool. So this is the same thing. Okay, so let's do some demonstrate. How does the loop system works? I just said I like 我喜欢鸡肉. Okay, that's the structure. That's a frame. 鸡肉 is something that you can substitute. Is something you can replace. Okay, 鸡肉 is something you can change. So you can say after me. Say for example, if you like noodles, 我喜欢吃面条. 我吃了苹果. You can say 我喜欢吃苹果. I like to eat apple. I like to eat apple. 我喜欢吃苹果. What about you don't like? You can say 我不喜欢吃say for example spicy food. 我不喜欢吃辣的. 我不喜欢吃辣的. Or if you don't like something sweet, you can say 我不喜欢吃甜的. 我不喜欢吃甜的. You see, that's the structure. This is not about the vocabularies. This is, well, yes, it's about vocabularies, but it's not, the main focus is not about the vocabulary. It's about the structures. It's about the structure first in coding, because you know what you can change, you know what you can substitute, you know what you can replace, and that's the most important thing is you can make the sentence your own. Okay, you can change it to relevant to your daily life. 我不是吃完苹果. You are not finished your apple yet. Okay, so let's say you can say something. I like to eat. 我喜欢吃. Okay, 我不喜欢吃. I don't like to eat. And also you can see, I like to eat. Eat is a verb. And then how could I change the eat to something else? Say, for example, I like to do something. Is that possible? Yes, of course. And that's the loop system. So you can change anything. You can change every element and to make these sentences transfer from one scenario to another scenario. And that's the key point. Okay. So this repetition, the repetition doesn't feel repetitive. It's because structure stays the same, but what you say is different. It's in different scenarios. Okay, and so this is the enhanced. You have the fixed frame, you have varied input, and that's the durable memory. Because now, okay, I can let's talk about something more psychological. Okay, let's talk about something more psychological. Your brain doesn't store the information. Your brain your brain remember the emotions of the scenarios. Say, for example, 我喜欢吃苹果. I like to eat food. Apple. 我喜欢吃苹果. I like to eat apple. But your brain doesn't memorize that I like to eat apple, the sentence. It restored the scenarios, the situation, the fact, the time that you were eating an apple. You were eating an apple. And your brain remembers when you're eating an apple, that sweetness, the juicy, that kind of feeling. So your brain automatically connect the sentence and the situation, and that's how your brain memorize it. Okay, because that relevant to your life. For example, how many of you know durian, the Southeast Asian fruit? Lots of people hate it or love it. Okay, if you never tried it, what's the point you learned? 我喜欢吃榴莲. Right? 我喜欢吃榴莲. Yes, the sentence patterns is the same, but your brain doesn't have that kind of memory. How you can link the sentence, the language to your history, to your experience. And because of that, your brain never remembers the sentence. Okay? So this loop repairs the first structural gap. You finally have an entry point. Okay, so you finally have an entry point that can help you to remember, to link the things, to link your memory or the words, the language to your experience, and that's the key point. Okay, so as I said, if you want to have a 5-day challenge with me, if you're watching from TikTok, you can click the button on the screen and fill in the short form. For people who are watching on YouTube, you can click the text below. Okay, now let's move on. The second thing, fix the structure failure. Okay, because we just talked about the second loop is there's no output activations. The second reason that you forget is very simple. Okay, you only receive the input. 我像光头强 a bit. Yeah, you see, people lives in the UK. You lost your hair. Okay. 我吃没吃苹果？我没吃苹果，谢谢。Not today. 今天没有。I always forget how the words pronounce. This is also, if you forget how to pronounce the words, it also means that you are not linked, because you see, English and Chinese, I don't know other language, but I know English and Chinese is so different, because when you see an English words, you automatically know how it pronounced. But as a Chinese, it's a character. Okay, Chinese is characters. So you have to learn, you have to connect the pronunciation, the meaning, how it looks like. You're probably not learning how to write it first, but you have to link the how does it look like and the meaning. Okay, so because there's extra layers when you learn Chinese, more than one extra layers more than English. Okay, so that's why I always said this is the second loop. This is in the second loop because you don't have the output. If you never say the words, you will never know how. You will never remember how the words pronounce. So you have to keep saying it. You have to keep pronouncing it. It's not only about remembering the meaning, but it's also about memorizing the pronunciation. Okay, so that's the key point. So let's give you an example. So what about, let's say, what do you eat? 你吃了什么? What do you eat? 你吃了什么? Then you can say I ate. 我吃了. 我吃了 plus a noun. Plus a noun. You can say it out loud. Maybe you can repeat. What do you eat? 你吃了什么? I eat noodles. 我吃了面条. I ate noodles. 我吃了面条. Or you can say 我吃了沙拉. I ate salad. Or 我吃了米饭. I ate rice. What do you eat? 你吃了什么? If you can answer, you can type in the chat, okay? You can type in the chat. 你吃了什么? Because this is the core. You are not having the input. You should have something output. You have to say something. You have to say something out. It's not you. If you want to learn swimming, okay. If you want to learn swimming, you are not just watching YouTube videos. People teach you how to swim, but you never get into the swimming pool to try it. You see what I mean? If you want to learn how to play football, you are not just watching on. That's me. I'm just watching on the YouTube how people play it, and I like the football match, but I never kick at the ball, so I never know how to play a football. You see, that's the key point. If you have the input, which I believe lots of you have lots of input, like vocabulary list, grammar list, grammar tables, videos, books, everything. But have you tried to say it? Have you tried to practice it? If you say, okay, I don't have a language partner with me, I don't, I just can't. I have nobody to practice. What about in the mirror? See, what about in the mirror? What about have a video, shooting a video about what you have said, and then watch the back. In that case, you can in that way you know what you have said wrong. Is that what order correct? Can people really understand me? You see, that's the key point. Have the input, then the output. Okay, so let's try. So what do you eat? What do you eat? 你吃了什么? Then the first loop we learned, I like to eat something, and this loop, the second loop we learned, I eat something. So what do you eat? 你吃了什么? You can say 我吃了面条. I ate noodles. 我喜欢吃面条. I like to eat meat. You see, that's how you, that shows your brain has two layers. It's retrieval, I eat, 我吃了, and then you have the preference, 我喜欢吃. You see, all the loops, all the sentence patterns you learned is relevant. It's relevant to what you have, what's your daily life. It's relevant to your preference. Okay, yeah. Right, I reckon myself, and it really helps. It does, especially you have apps like what's called Duolingo or Hello Chinese, whatever. There is a native speakers how teach you how to pronounce it, right? So if you pronounce it and you record it, you can compare. Oh, okay. My tone here is off. I didn't pronounce this right. Oh, okay. People probably couldn't understand what I'm saying. Okay, so that's the second loop. Okay, Still, if you want to practice with me for 5 days free, for people who are watching on TikTok, you can click the bottom on the screen, fill in the short form. And for people who on YouTube, just click the text below. Okay. So the third one, there's no life relevance. We just talked about this before. There's the reason you forget is the sentence you learn has nothing to do with your actual life. You see, your brain discards irrelevant data. So I always say one thing is, what does this relevant to me? Okay, what does this relevant to me? What should I do? It's none of my business. None of my business. If none of my business, why should I learn it? Okay, so the third loop is you need to integrate the Chinese or the Mandarin into your daily routine. You should involve Chinese in your daily life. Say, for example, let's say the structure. What do you eat for breakfast? 你早餐吃了什么? What do you eat for breakfast? 你早餐吃了什么? You see, that's the sentence patterns. You see, the last loop, the second loop we learned, 你吃了什么? What do you eat? Then we add another layer in it. What do you eat for breakfast? 你早餐吃了什么? What do you eat for breakfast? And then now you can change breakfast to lunch, dinner. 你午餐吃了什么? 你午餐吃了什么? What do you eat for lunch? 你晚餐吃了什么? 你晚餐吃了什么? What do you eat for dinner? Okay, 你吃了草莓 Great. Only 草莓只有草莓吗? Only strawberries? Okay, so you should repeat that. 早餐我吃了 breakfast I ate something. Any food you can put it in. So you can change 早餐 to 午餐 or 晚餐. You can change, say for example, 面包 bread to, I don't know, rice, 米饭 noodle, 面条 or 鸡肉 chicken, right? So that's the sentence patterns, and that's what relevant to you. Okay, that's what relevant to you. Because I don't know what you eat for breakfast. I don't know what you like to eat. So I can't teach you the exact sentence relevant to your life. Is it true? Right? So you need to have the ability to change the word, to change the sentence pattern, to produce the sentence to your own. And that's the purpose of you to learning a language. That's the purpose for you to learning a language is you actually say it. You actually use it, right? So say, for example, if I ask you, 你晚餐吃了什么? What do you eat for dinner? You can reply, 晚餐我吃了牛肉 beef. Okay? 晚餐我吃了牛肉. So you can change beef 牛肉 to something that you really like or what you have ate. See, that's the thing. Now let's combine the three loops. For example, let's say, what do you eat for breakfast? 你早餐吃了什么? What do you eat for breakfast? 你早餐吃了什么? You can say, for example, 我吃了面包。我喜欢吃面包。I ate bread. I like to eat bread. You see, that's the thing. First is, what do you like? I like to eat something. That's your preference. And then, what do you eat? That's your retrieval. And then you add another time on it, or the specific thing, or the emphasis in it for breakfast, right? So that's layer by layer by layer. It's a loop by loop by loop. It's a spiral, okay? That's the first three loops. So again, if you're watching from YouTube, you can click the text below for 5 days challenge with me. And if you want to, if you're watching from TikTok, you can click the bottom on your screen, just fill in the short forms. Okay. And then there is a 5-day challenge, free 5-day challenge, one-on-one with me. Okay. So now let's talk about, for those people who just joined, welcome. We are talking about why you are forgetting what you have learned when you learn Mandarin. Okay, so how we can solve these problems. And now it's the fourth. The fourth is there's no conversation loops. Most learners memorize the single sentences, just like we talked about for the first one. I eat. 我喜欢吃面包. I like to eat bread. I like to eat bread. You just memorize these single sentences. But speaking is not a single sentences. All right. Speaking is not just your individual output. It's back and forth. It's back and forth. Okay. So speaking is you have a question, then you answer it, then you follow up, then you respond. Okay. 晚上好，晚上，老师你好吗？我很好。UK. I live in the UK as well. Okay. 晚上好. Good evening. 晚上好. Good evening. Okay. So speaking is you throw out a question and then someone answered and then you follow up and then the person responds. This is a conversation back and forth, right? So in this loop, the loop 4, I'm going to introduce you the back and forth patterns. Let's say, have you eaten something before? 你吃过苹果吗？你吃过苹果吗？ Have you eaten apple before? 吃过，没吃过。I have, I haven't. Okay, good evening. I'm 3 weeks into my Mandarin journey. Welcome. Learning Mandarin is a long journey. It is a journey, and it takes time and efforts. Okay, but it also requires you have the right system, to have a right or efficient system. I can't say it's right, but let's say an efficient way, especially for adult learners. We have limited time. We want to use it directly. We want something quick. We are not students that we can have full time to study, but as adults, we need something more efficient. Okay, so let's say loop 4 is, have you eaten? Say for example, 你吃过鸡肉吗？你吃过鸡肉吗？ I found Duolingo very hard. Yes, fragmented information, but you need to put the fragments information into a sentences. It's hard, yes. So now let's you can repeat after me. 你吃过火锅吗？ Have you eaten hot pot before? I have. 吃过 I haven't. 没吃过 Which one? So you see, this is a conversation pattern. This is the conversation pattern, and your brain sees a conversation patterns. It's not memorized in a line, so your brain can memorize it. Okay, so again, we need to combine what we have learned. Say, for example, have you eaten hot pot before? 你吃过火锅吗？我吃过 I have. 我喜欢吃火锅 I like to eat hot pot. And then you need to follow up. What do you eat for dinner? 你晚餐吃了什么？ What do you eat for dinner? 你晚餐吃了什么？ I ate hot pot. 我吃了火锅。我吃了火锅。I ate hot pot. You see, that's the thing. You need to first, you need to think about the sentence, the conversation pattern first, to expect what people are going to ask you, to expect what you can answer it. You see, that's the example I gave you. That what you have you tried something before, right? Yes, I have. I like it or I don't like it. Then you need to follow up. What do you eat, or what have you eat recently, or what they have eat for breakfast, the lunch, dinner, whatever. So that's the sentence patterns. That's the patterns, and that's the conversation, and that's what you memory remembered. Your brain remembers. You still remember that what I've said before psychologically, that your brain remembers the emotions, that your experiences. That's your experience. That's your experience. The conversation is your experience. Okay, the conversation is your experience, and your brain loves it. Your brain, this kind of information will stick in your brain, right? Okay, so for those who watching on TikTok, if you want to have a 5-day mini challenge with me for free, then you can click the button on your screen. And for people who are watching on YouTube, you can you can click the text below. All right. So okay, now last one. Let's fix the last failure. There's a no pressure situation. Okay, I know I can understand that learning, ordering food, asking for like say less sugar or saying no spicy. 我吃了炸鸡. Great. I love fried chicken. 我喜欢吃炸鸡. Okay. That kind of request can feel a little bit pressure. These are the pressure scenarios. Without rehearsal, your brain always switch back to English. So it's the same to me. When I just came to the UK, I always will rehearsal in my brain that what should I say later on when I ordering food, when I ordering the coffee, and what I'm going to expect people will reply to me, and what should I say my preference. So these kind of things will in my mind, and I will try to rehearsal it first. Okay, because you see, rehearsal is a low pressure stimulation. Okay, rehearsal is the low pressure stimulation, but when you in the real life you say it, it's the high pressure situation. Okay, everyone has the pressures, especially when you speak a language that you're not familiar with. Okay, that's the thing. That's the thing. So let's try. Let's say I would like. You can say 我要我要 let's say no spicy 我要不辣的我要不辣的 I would like no spicy I would like less sugar 我要少糖我要少糖 You see that's the patterns. Is that okay? 可以吗可以吗 Is that okay? So let's try. I would like one noodle bowl. 我要一碗面. I would like a bowl of noodle. 我要一碗面. No spicy. 不要辣. No spicy. 不要辣. Is that okay? 可以吗可以吗 Or if you are ordering a milk tea, but bubble tea maybe, then you can say 我要奶茶 milk tea. I would like milk tea. 我要奶茶 and then you want less sugar. 少糖 less sugar. 少糖 Is that okay? 可以吗可以吗 You see, this rehearsal in your mind, yeah, 我要奶茶 I love milk tea as well, and I would like to less sugar. That's my preference. Maybe I've heard lots of people like full sugar, 全糖 full sugar, 全糖 Okay, that's the thing. What relevant to you? What would you like to eat or to drink? What's your preference? Right? That's how you remember. That's how you remember the sentences or the vocabularies you have learned. Right? Okay. Now let's put everything together. Let's put everything together. Is say for example, 我要饺子，不要辣. I would like dumpling, no spicy. Have you eaten dumpling before? 你吃过饺子吗 Have you eaten dumpling before? 你吃过饺子吗？ Right? I have 吃过。I like to eat dumplings. 我喜欢吃饺子。I like to eat dumplings. 我喜欢吃饺子。You see, that's integrated all the 5 loops in one functional unit. Okay, so first, you have to understand that learning a language is not as simple as you just memorize 我是晚报 evening newspaper. What's that? You see, learning a language, it's not always just memorizing the words. It's about how you learning it. Okay, it's about how you learning it, because you see, it's a journey. You have plenty of time to memorize vocabularies. Okay, you have plenty of time to remember vocabularies, remember grammar tables, everything. But you want to do it in a more efficient way. If you spend lots of time in one thing, you eventually will can finish it, can achieve it, no matter what. But nobody want to spend extra time that that not necessary. So everyone wants something that efficient and fast. So in today's not lesson, in today's session, I would like to say session rather than lesson, because this is not a formal class. All right, so in today's sessions, we understand why you isolate, why you can't remember things, because you lack of entry structures, because you only learned isolated words. You have the input, you don't have the output, and what you have learned is not relevant to your life. And the thing you learn is just a single line rather than a back and forth conversation. And then you need to rehearsal in your mind as a low pressure stimulation rather than you just speak it out in a high pressure situation. Okay, so that's the 5 things we have trying to figure out today. And I would like you to do something that to change or to twist it a little bit of your learning method to help to see, is there any sort of things that can improve? Okay, and again, if you want to have a one-on-one free session with me for 5 days, for people who watching on TikTok, you can click the button and fill in the short form. For people who watching on YouTube, you can just click the text below. Okay. Right. Now, that's all for today. And if you do have any questions, you can type in the comment below or type in the chat, and I can answer it. And I will still waiting here for 1 minute. If you have any questions, you can ask, and I'm trying to figure it out for you. Okay. Right. So, okay. Any questions? Any questions about, could be anything learning Mandarin, could be anything about Chinese culture, about how you're learning it, or any vocabularies, about grammars, whatever, everything. Okay, no? Here, when I need to learn a vocabulary, I feel like I need to learn 3 words at the same time. The pinyin, how the character written, and the meaning of it. Is this normal? Yes, it's normal. It's normal. But as a beginner, I don't suggest you to learn how to write first. As a beginner, I don't suggest you how to articles are important. Yes, correct. I can understand what you mean, actually, one word, because Chinese is different. As I just said before, you see, English, you just have the alphabet, you spell it, and almost you know how to pronounce it. But Chinese, you have the characters, so your brain need to link how it looks like, how it written, what does it mean, how it pronounced, right? 4 things, different. So my suggestion is, don't try to figure it out how it written first. How to write is not for you as a total beginner. So you need to, of course, you need to look at the characters. That's give you exposure to the Chinese characters, and then to memory it subconsciously, not consciously, but subconsciously. As a beginner, you always need to remember that the first thing you need to solve is survival, or the functional. To use something, to learn how to use something is the priority for you at the moment. And so without how to write in it, and then you also don't have to remember the pinyin, because if you know how to pronounce it, you should write the pinyin. Maybe not 100% correct, but will not far away from it. And if you write it in the wrong way, then you know your pronunciation is wrong. You see what I mean? So actually, the best way to learn a character or to learn a phrase is to see the characters, to say it out loud for a few times, and then use the five loops or the 5 method I taught today to say it in the scenarios, to say it in a conversation, to say it in a sentence frame, to say it in something that is relevant to you. I hope that makes sense. If not, just type no and I will explain it again. Okay. All right. So any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, great. So again, if you like have a practice one-on-one session for 5 days for the Mandarin challenge with me, for people who are watching on TikTok, click the bottom on the screen, and for people who are watching on YouTube, you can click the text below, and I will see you next time. All right, see you. Bye-bye.